Hey again. This is a good question. I like this question. Thank you for asking. Why do I need the surgery if I'm already a woman?
Whoa, you have a deep voice.
Well, that's because I was born with a condition that caused me to develop male sex characteristics. And I want to correct as much of that as possible. However, I need to add a great big caveat to this. Genitalia does not define gender. I am a woman because I say that I am a woman. What is or is not between my legs is absolutely irrelevant. Also, I need to state that choosing to get the surgery or not get the surgery is an intensely personal decision. And not all women want to get the surgery. And that is completely and utterly valid. So again, thanks for asking.
A Wokey suggests that chromosomes aren't the full story on gender. Let's unpack that with a bit of science.
This is alright, but I mean, you gotta stop somewhere.
So you said handguns are okay, but AR-15s are not.
Yeah, I mean, just like, there's bans on all types of stuff. You can't have bombs, you can't have all types of things, weapons of mass destruction. I mean, that's what I would consider one of those guns for sure.
So an AR-15 is a weapon of mass destruction. What do you base that definition or that category off of?
I mean, just the fact that it can kill, a large amount of people quickly.
Do you think that AR-15s are the most commonly used weapon in mass shootings?
No, I don't think that really matters.
Okay.
I mean, it's just when they're used, when you hear about them being used, they're used to kill a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, yes. Would you be willing to ban another type of firearm that is the cause for most homicides in this country?
I think it's more the fact that it can kill a lot more people, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, handguns probably, maybe knives, fights, stuff like that. Yeah, it kills, probably a lot of people with a longer term, different, single type people, but I don't know.
Well, actually, every year, more people are killed by knives than they are by rifles, by blunt objects than they are by rifles, cars than they are by rifles, drowning in a swimming pool than they are by rifles, handguns than they are by rifles. So are rifles what we should be focused on?
Well, no, because that's just one person. If somebody is, the way you hear about, AR-15s, if there's shoot up a school or something like that, they have a knife, they're not going to be able to do as much as they can.
An AR-15 labeled a weapon of mass destruction? We're fact-checking that claim.
Admitting you're attracted to minors to the right person is so important. There are people that are out to shame, but they don't actually understand how to help, so that's what they resort to. Vulnerability is the hardest thing to do. It's way easier to bottle it up, but bottling up will lead to disaster. There may be people in your life that you could open up to about your attraction, but if not, there's professionals waiting to help you. They're not going to expose you to the internet or friends or family or anything. They're going to be proud of you for taking a responsible step for you and society. If you want to take steps today, go to the website before you act. There are some amazing people that can help you out with no shame and a goal of self-control.
Discussion gets serious around sensitive topics, and we remind everyone why certain behaviors simply can't be justified.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
I'm
free speech. Gonna control what people say. Gonna tell people what to believe. Gonna tell people... I don't tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want and they can believe whatever they want. And I don't think there's any... We had two women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland thinks or what he says or what his beliefs are or what his opinions are. You know what I mean?
Dana White stumps a questioner with his sharp wit, no match for his quick thinking.
5 Americans currently is Hispanic. This country, like it or not, is not a homogenous country. We are a very diverse country. Do you not think that our legislators should be representative of the overall population?
I don't see a way that you can have a quote-unquote representative legislature with 435 members of Congress in a country of 340 million people, because you can divvy that up however you want. It's not by race. You can do it by sex. You can do it by gender. You can do it by sexual orientation. How exactly do you decide what is quote-unquote the representative group? And also, I don't believe that individuals ought to be represented based on group identity. So, for example, I'm Jewish. Jews are actually overrepresented in Congress. I don't think that we ought to decide exactly how many people in Congress are Jewish based on the Jewish population of the country. I think that's actually a pretty silly way to do representation.
Well, we don't have to do it systematically, but fundamentally there is an issue with the fact that we are not fully represented. Like, the entire population is not represented. We have never had a black female president. I still have to pay taxes.
We've never had a
The whole
Jewish president.
concept is no taxation without. Well, we have had a white male president. We've had like 45 of them.
Whether Jews count as white or not has been sort of an object of debate for quite a while. We do. Okay.
You do.
So, I mean, it depends according to whom, and that's a pretty recent development. Okay, so
basically everyone. It's a religion.
Judaism.
Do you not agree that you were a white man?
I mean, I think that it depends on the context in which you're discussing it.
So what are you, Ben? Are you not a white guy?
I mean, I'm a man of Jewish ethnicity, which is sometimes grouped with white and sometimes not. I mean, that's the more accurate way to put it. But when
what
we're
else
talking
would you be
about
grouped
with Jews, who are which is an ethnicity. I mean,
so you're not white at all.
I mean, again, it depends who's doing the grouping and how. I've seen Jews grouped with white and Jews grouped with not white. Are we just pretending that doesn't exist? That's a reality. However, as far as your generalized point, which is that we are supposed to identify people by group identity, that if we don't have a black female president, somehow black females have not been represented. So Barack Obama was in no way representative of black females because he's not a female.
No, he was. He was representative,
so
but
he was
that's
half
the point.
representative. How do you do the math on this? And why?
You shouldn't do the math on it completely statistically, but the fact
you shouldn't
is
do the math on it at all.
Clearly
you treat people as individuals.
Ben Shapiro shares a factual feast on sensitive issues, offering a history lesson we all need.
A war that isn't a genocide by your definition.
One that isn't a genocide?
Yes.
There's plenty genocides. They've happened.
I mean,
I don't know.
My point is that you don't seem to be distinguishing between the definition of a war and the definition of a genocide.
Well,
you're saying that if mass casualties happen, it is necessarily a genocide. I'm saying that is not true.
Got you. My next question: do you believe Israel has the right to the? Yeah.
Well, we're going to solve the Middle East in 56 seconds. Go for it.
Definitely not. My question is, if this were in the context of the United States, if everything were the same conditions of what you see to be terrorism, what you see to be from the Israel side, but it happened in the United States and the innocent civilians that died were United States citizens, would you see the same thing to be justified?
In what? So let's say that the United States had launched an attack across the Mexican border, specifically targeting civilians, slaughtering 1,200 of them, taking 250 hostage, and then the Mexican government had retaliated by attempting to solely target military targets, and our military men and women were hiding behind civilians. That would be the comparable condition.
Yeah, so U.S. citizens would be killed in hospitals and other things.
I would not blame the Mexican government for. I would not blame the Mexican government for targeting the personnel who were responsible for the kidnappings and murder.
Do you see it to be ethically justified for them to kill innocent Americans at the same degree that they killed innocent Palestinians?
Again, the question of killing civilians is a question about who's hiding behind the civilians. Israel's not going out of its way to kill civilians.
That's not an answer to the question.
Yes, it is, because you are mischaracterizing the actual situation on the ground.
Watch as two wokies learn about the complexities of history from Ben Shapiro, covering topics from genocide to global conflicts.
What are we rocking out for?
For immigrants.
Okay, good. We're rocking out for immigrants. This is Felix. He's from Mexico. He needs a place to stay. He's illegal.
Yeah.
They're about to round him up and put him in these camps. Will you take him home with you and save him?
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
He's an illegal immigrant. Would you be willing to give him $20?
I'm poor.
Black Lives Matter, but they won't take in my black illegal immigrant friend Felix from Mexico. Would you guys be willing to take in a asylum seeker, as you called them, to your home and foster them and take care of them so the government doesn't have to mistreat them?
Well, I think that's a Band-Aid approach, but yes, if we were involved with an organization that was needed temporary placements for asylum seekers, that would be something we...
Well, my organization is Liberty Hangout, and I have an asylum seeker right here Are you willing to give him your house keys so he can stay with you?
The reason we can't do it right now is we are literally moving.
Immigration is a hot topic, and we watch as big talk meets the hard truths of reality.
Like, what is that identity? For example, if I were to say I'm a conservative, let me give an example.
Yeah.
A conservative is someone who believes in small government, strong borders, American exceptionalism, the Constitution. How would you then give a definition of queer that someone looking at could say, oh, that is queer, like connect the dots?
So, I'm right?
Okay, no, that's good. So, so what's the difference then in queer?
The whole point of it is that it has a different definition for everyone.
No, I know, but what is the difference then of gay and queer?
No! I get more questions, right?
Identity confusion on display. A discussion on distinguishing between queer and gay leads to some colorful misunderstandings.
How can you continue to condone the actions of the Israeli government in the Gaza Strip, where over 40,000 people have died, including Palestinians and Israelis?
I want to correct you. I don't just condone the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli government. I celebrate and laud them. I'm not morally apathetic about what's happening. On October 7th, Hamas launched the most deadly war on Jews since the Holocaust. They killed 1,200 innocent people. They took 250 hostages. 100 of them are still being held hostage. Hamas could end this war today by surrendering.
Do you not want a ceasefire now?
I do not want a ceasefire until Hamas is destroyed and all the hostages are back. What is Israel supposed to do? Simply say that you get to play tag, you take Israeli citizens, you kill 1,200 people, you hide behind a baby, you hide behind a civilian, and now Israel has to preemptively surrender? That is a great way to make sure that always win. If we're going to talk about institutions that ought to be torn down, we should start with the legacy media, which seems to have radically misinformed you.
A heated debate on the Israel-Palestine conflict with Ben Shapiro brings clarity to a complex issue.
What do you think about Charlie Kirk being on your campus today?
To be honest, not really a fan. I don't agree with him, TBH.
What would you say is the biggest thing you don't agree with him on?
He seems a little transphobic, I'm not gonna lie.
What is the most transphobic thing you've heard him say?
I couldn't tell you.
A challenging conversation about respect and understanding unfolds after accusations fly.
I'm sure that AUHSD is breathing a sigh of relief now that Governor Newsom codified AB 1955 into law. The bill makes it clear that schools should not be outing LGBTQ students to their very bad, oh so terrible parents. This school system has already failed this new law by outing my child to me many times. So I'm here tonight to tell you how to get better at hiding the evidence from parents. I'll point out the holes so you can keep the secrets. Number one, my daughter won an Outstanding Achievement Award. At the ceremony, her name was incorrect on the program, she was announced in the wrong name, and the certificate was incorrect. I had it reprinted. Number two, her $125 yearbook used both a fake name and they/them pronouns in candid photos, but also her real name under the class picture. In the reference pages in the back, she is listed as two separate people. 3. Grades arrived by mail in her fake name. Even the principal was astonished when I showed him. To this day, Mr. Alvarez is the only school official who has ever apologized to me. 4. The automated call system informing me that my daughter was absent would say, quote, a 10th grade male was absent from period 3. This happened 3 times. I called the office to say there must be some sort of mistake as I do not have a 10th grade male. The office lady played it off as odd, but she's a bad liar. 5. When I logged in to register my daughter's senior year, there was a new first name. It was uneditable. I reached out to registrar and up the chain. I was avoided and ignored for a week. I was forced to register her last minute in order to get her schedule. I was able, however, to create a fake name for myself, which didn't match my PG&E or tax documents. Go figure. Number 6, arriving at the studio for senior photos, they couldn't find her paperwork, even though I myself made the appointment. She was filed under the fake name. 7, and this is the most important one that parents need to know. The SAT College Board requires the student ID match the name on the account. The fake name didn't match her school ID or her college applications. After 3 difficult weeks, phone calls, and submitting her birth certificate and social security card, it was corrected so she could then sign up for a legal SAT test. I thank the one helpful school office worker who opened a spot for us to meet the college admission deadlines. 8. There was a week when students double-checked their name spelling for the diplomas. I arrived at school to correct my daughter's first name in the book. When I pointed out the mistake, I was offered 2 diplomas as a solution. Counterfeit diplomas apparently are an option at your schools. 9. My daughter won another award as she's very talented. The teacher called her on stage by last name only. She was the only student who had no first name used. In his speech about her accomplishments, he was careful to avoid the use of she, and instead said, "You were great." It was embarrassing and a moment she'll never get back. After I tried to talk to him outside, he had no answer for why he had done this. He even called in sick the next day, claiming he didn't feel safe. What grown man feels unsafe around a 53-year-old mom because of questions? The next day when he returned, he met privately with my daughter, and he told her he could press charges against me and get me arrested. He scared her on purpose. And 10 didn't happen. I made sure it didn't happen. It took work emails, phone kills, and persistence. She's back to her normal self, no thanks to you guys.
Thank you very much for your time.
A determined mom discusses identity and respect in schools, championing her daughter's right to be herself.
Is free speech like absolutely, totally absolute? Because I could say the left can use your ideology against you, for instance, and say that it's their free speech to say that there's so many different genders.
I don't want to take away their right to say whatever they want. They can say that. The issue is when they try to get you to affirm it, right? So they can affirm whatever they want to affirm and say whatever they want to say. The proper response to that is for us to rebut that, to refute that. They're trying to take away our right to even refute it. They're trying to force you to actually affirm what they're saying, and that you'll have no choice but to affirm it. And what I'm arguing is not that they shouldn't have a right to say or believe what they want and articulate it. I'm saying we should have a right to reject it and rebut it and refute it and even ridicule it if we want to. So it's really both sides should be free to speak their minds and say what they believe and defend their beliefs.
A speaker questions why everyday folks might need to navigate complex gender ideologies.
I'm a U.S. citizen, but I was raised in Mexico. My parents one day want to come back, but legally, you know? They want to do it in the right way. By coming here to school, it was going to be an opportunity. But the school looks like it's going to give more opportunity to people who don't come here legally. I've been working for over a year, to get my scholarship. Nothing came back, so today I had to drop out of college, sadly.
I'm sorry.
And how is it possible that I have to go back to my parents in Mexico and trying to look for a job there when I've been looking for months here in the United States as a citizen to fight for my rights to get a job and get an income here just so my parents can come back in the right way.
It is reprehensible and wrong that the people that come here the right way are punished and the people that come here the wrong way are rewarded. That is wrong.
Yes.
The people that cut in line get benefits, they get taxpayer-funded subsidies, they get luxury hotels, where you came here the right way. You followed the rules,
Yes.
and you are being punished.
I just want to encourage you and tell you to stay strong. Don't give up. Keep up the fight. You are doing the right thing in the right way, and know that you're not alone.
Thank you.
Shedding light on how different groups are treated, highlighting the need for fairness and understanding.
Hey!
What, you worried I'm going to stain your f***ing signs that are telling lies to people? Why would you do that? I'm so sorry. Don! Kids still can't change their gender. We fucking tried to talk to you, assholes. I just tried to talk to you. Case in point, most of the time. Alright then. I think we're good. Just we try to keep it. If you enjoy getting the stain out. Hi.
Hello. Could you please not do that?
Why?
Because this is our stuff.
Can you please not do this?
We were allowed to table here. We actually have a permit.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do.
I'm not touching you. I'm grabbing your phone.
Well, that's yeah, you can't touch his phone.
I'm not touching your phone. I'm covering the camera.
Okay.
You're not touching it. Why are you here?
Because we have a right to be here. Why are you here?
Because I have a right to be here. We care about kids. We care
Okay,
about
so why are you damaging our stuff?
Behold the tolerant left.
A disagreement at a TP USA stall escalates to tomato juice theatrics, because sometimes words just aren't enough.
Would a pastor be in error if he did not speak against slavery in this country? Say, of course. Would a pastor be in error if a pastor did not speak about how kids are being sold into slavery? Well, newsflash, there are more people being sold in slavery in this country right now on the southern border than any time in the last couple hundred years, and the church is silent. There are 320,000 kids that we know of that have gone missing, many of whom are now teenage and slaves for the cartel in the interior of the United States. But the church is silent. One of the first actions that Kamala Harris took with Joe Biden was to get rid of DNA testing. So here's how it works. They show up on the border, trembling 13-year-old girl, and a muscular 35-year-old pimp says, I'm her dad. And there is no DNA testing that occurs. So instead, they just say, sign on the paperwork, here's your asylum date, it's in 3 years, of course it never comes, and the girl is now a in the United States. Under Trump, we do a DNA test, be like, you're lying, that's not correct, we're gonna find out who her parents actually are. However, the church is uninterested in this. Exactly. Pastors are too interested in bigger buildings and more budgets and not in the fact that kids, God's children, are being sold as slaves in our own country. This is not happening in some far off distant land. This is on our turf. This is in our own nation. And I can't make the moral argument more clear than that.
Charlie Kirk invites a discussion on community responsibilities in immigration. Time for some honest talk.
63-year-old pro-life grandpa Calvin Zastro will soon be entering one of the most notoriously violent federal prisons in the United States. This is Federal Correctional Institute Thompson in Illinois. He's got a 6-month prison sentence because he was convicted of violating the FACE Act during an entirely peaceful protest at an abortion mill at a child killing site back in 2021 in my state of Tennessee. The FACE Act was passed during the Bill Clinton administration, 1994. It's been on the books for 30 years now. In principle, the FACE Act is supposed to protect child killing sites and churches from protest. That's what it's supposed to do. We need to make the correction of this injustice a priority. This is an outrageous law. To my mind, it ought to be considered unconstitutional that abortion mills, child killing sites, get this special protection from free speech. The First Amendment gives you the right to demonstrate, the right to protest, the right to speak your mind, except when it comes to the Moloch altar of babies being offered up to demons, in which case you got to keep your trap shut and stop praying. I don't think so.
Michael Knowles critiques controversial laws, sparking a conversation on justice and fairness.
What's the weirdest thing about conservatives?
The fact that they have to push their opinion onto everybody else for no reason, and then they go on to say, oh, why do you have to push your opinion on us for absolutely no reason?
They look just like us on the outside, but the inside's what counts.
When wokies call conservatives odd, we're reminded that diversity of thought makes the world interesting.
When you hear it says, I think that they're meaning the Black Lives Matter movement, whole existence is just a liberal progressive socialist movement to make sure they keep the black community on the 21st century economic plantation that's been created by the left. Would you like to clarify that?
I can clarify it very easily. You can follow the money, and the money of Black Lives Matter goes back to a guy, George Soros, so that tells you one thing. And let me tell you, all lives matter. It's not just about Black Lives Matter, okay? Now, if you really are concerned, start talking about school choice in the black community. If you really are concerned, start talking about the decimation of the black family, which I don't hear. Do not be manipulated by people that are using you as a political tool so that you can keep your own people suppressed. Get off the plantation and think on your own.
Facts fly as a speaker addresses misconceptions in a spirited exchange.
What's your least popular opinion?
There's no such thing as a human that's illegal.
Okay, so so you would support a bridge, not a wall.
I love a bridge.
A bridge.
I love a bridge all the time.
Bridges are so fun because people with the little locks on them, and they're very cute.
I think everyone should take a mental competency test to see if they understand what politics really are before they vote.
Debating whether there are no illegal people and what that means in a global context.
Want to catch Wokey moments in 4K? Watch till the end, subscribe, like the video, and comment Wokies for a chance to win a brand new iPhone 16 or a cash prize. Also, don't forget to check out the next video on the end screen for more chances to win.
Being is so different than being queer.
Yeah, exactly. It's really different.
It is. But being a lesbian is not different from being queer, and like I don't know how to explain that.
But they can be.
It can be.
Depends on the person.
So men like oppress other like racialized groups. They oppress like other genders like all the time, and it's rampant still.
Yeah,
I think it's because like women also have like been historically subjugated to like oppression, and men haven't. So I think lesbians align a lot more with queerness than like men who can just travel the world without having to worry about that.
There are a few that
do hold on to like very strict definitions and gender roles when it comes to like being a lesbian. And I think that those people are the same people that are also like trans exclusionary.
If a gender role works for you, fantastic. You can't then demand it of someone else.
Right.
And you can't have your behavior, if it's negatively affecting someone else in a way that is like actively violent or like hateful, then it's not about the gender role. It's about you being discriminatory or prejudiced or whatever.
Yeah.
I understand the protections of it also sometimes in the sense that like have actively been pushed out of movements, actively pushed out of spaces. Like when I first came into the scene in Toronto, I was actively told like the village, you're not allowed in it because you're taking space from. We need to discuss the misogyny within our own community and understanding that like just because you exist within womanhood doesn't mean that you can't embody misogyny.
Dive into a podcast that spins heads with its whirlwind of identity talks. Fasten your seatbelts.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How can I help you?
I'm here to pick up a prescription for Gwyneth McMullen.
Okay, what's your birthday?
11/1/96.
McMullen's your last name?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure the information looks correct. It is coming up 2761.
2761. Oh, 28. Thank you. And I don't need the change.
You give me an extra.
Oh, an extra $1. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Discussing mental wellness and the importance of supportive counseling instead of quick fixes.
Her original name was Dakota, and then about a little bit over a year ago, she said, I'd like to change my name. And I said, no kidding, why? And she said, well, I feel as though Dakota is too much of a feminine name and it has a gender identity. First of all, I'm like, how did you talk like this? Like, you know, I'm a icon. She teaches me things every day that I had no idea about. And she said, I want a name that is gender neutral. I said, well, what kind of a name? She said, I was thinking about it and I'm thinking of Clay. The hardest thing to do was not call her baby girl.
Yeah.
Because that was my common way of, morning baby girl, right? I would always say that. And she said to me about a year and a half ago, I don't like that.
Okay.
I'm not a girl and I'm not a boy. I said, okay, I understand. What she wants and every kid wants is to be heard and seen. And when your child tells you who they are, believe them.
Parenting debates get real as different family dynamics are explored. Every family has a unique approach.
Hello, my name is Ace. I also go by Spade and Alex. A lot of people call me Marshmallow. I use any pronouns except for she, her, and I am the social media secretary of the Saline Middle School Straight Alliance Club. This will be our first video, so we are doing a brief introduction of the membership. But other than that, have a good time here.
Hi, I'm Jinx. I go by they pronouns, and I am the vice president of GSA, and I am Cal's father.
A classroom claims diverse identities, sparking a thought-provoking discussion on self-expression.
You actually cannot make this up. The Canadian Cancer Society updated their website to talk about cervical cancer without using the word cervix. Instead, they want to refer to your cervix as your front hole. They say on their website, we recognize that many trans men and non-binary people may have mixed feelings about or feel distance from words like cervix. You may prefer other words such such as front hole. We recognize the limitations of the words we've used while also acknowledging the need for simplicity. Another reason we use words like cervix is to normalize the reality that men can have these body parts too. I'm not a scientist. Actually, I am quite literally a scientist. I have 2 degrees in biomedical sciences. Can someone anatomically point out to me on the female body, or I guess the front hole possessing body, what the front hole is? Is it your cervix? Is it your urethra? Is it your... We all know what the back hole is, presumably. We can't even understand basic human anatomy at this point because we need to generalize terms like cervix to be inclusive of everything. I'm ready to move to the woods, I think. Like, this was my last... That was it. If I never see you again, this is why.
The Canadian Medical Board tries a new term, sparking chuckles and a few raised eyebrows. Sometimes change is hard to swallow.
Guys, everyone stop looking at me. I did not want attention this morning. Come on, please just leave me. Let me go to class in peace. All I want is just to be unrecognizable. I just want to go to class and do my work.
Dressing uniquely might turn heads, but it's all about expressing yourself and owning your look. For more wokey videos, click on the screen right now.